In the fading light of the setting sun, Luka Yashevsky sketched a face. Luka drew the boy's lips pursed around the smoldering cigarette, aligned to the curves of his chin. His pencil marked the contours and peaks of the quaint little nose, which rested above the philtrum. He captured the sagging lines beneath the model's eyes, no doubt a result of his weary journey from St. Petersburg to Petrushka. But Luka was having difficulty with the eyes. They were a tempest, he noted, gray flecks and brown mirroring a summer storm. Their shape was odd, too, cat-like and squinty, with creases and folds in unusual places. The boy exhaled and lifted his eyes to watch the smoke drift up to the rafters. "Eyes down, would you?" Luka reprimanded, reaching for his eraser. "I'm not finished yet." "Sorry," the boy said, his mouth molding itself into a lopsided grin. "I've been sitting here for a while. It's hard to keep myself from getting restless." He took another drag on his cigarette, turning to the open window to blow smoke into the fog outside. Luka followed his gaze out the window. It was the time of eternal twilight, the unsettling period in midsummer when the sun, like an incorrigible child, refused to sleep. It wouldn't be black outside until 11:30, giving him more light to work by, but depriving him of sleep. "I didn't mean to complain," the model apologized, crossing his right leg over his left. He seemed aware of Luka's frustration. "I lied. I like this. It's relaxing. Petrushka is a nice break from the city." Luka grunted in response, his fingers rubbing in shadows beneath the eyes. Curse the impossible eyes. If Luka weren't a perpetual perfectionist, he would just leave them out, draw the boy with his face turned away. But this picture had to be perfect. Luka erased his attempt at the eyelashes and began again. "I hadn't heard of this place before," the boy continued. "It's quite different from St. Petersburg. I imagine the people here are very humble, yes?" "Some," Luka said. Most people in Petrushka were simple, fishermen, farmers, churchmen. But Luka rarely ventured out, so he didn't really know them. He blinked and lifted his pencil to draw the boy's fine, neatly combed hair, which he intended to capture in wispy fragments, not the cartoonish strands his instructor often mocked. As an afterthought, he added, "It's not uncommon to dislike it here. Why should you like a town named after a marionette?" "Any village seems nice compared to where I grew up," the boy said, gesturing for an ashtray to crush out his cigarette. "Are you going to color in my face?" Begrudgingly, Luka took the ashtray from his side desk and gave it to the boy. Ordinarily, he didn't speak to his models, his creations, and when he did, it was a direct command. "Sit straight, eyes forward, for the love of God, stop slouching." "Only charcoal," he said now. "Eyes up, please. You said you were from Kiev." The boy lifted his eyes obediently, but then buried his face in his hands. "Oh, I lied, sir," he said. "The truth is, I grew up in an orphanage." Luka set down his pencil. "How sad," he said. "My parents died of typhus when I was very young," the boy went on, his face still hidden behind his fingers. "It was a stranger who brought me there, but I couldn't stay. My mind caused me trouble, so I made trouble." "Oh?" "The fat old village doctor said I was dangerous, that I thought insane things." "What things?" Marxist things." He licked his lips. "I recited Engel before I'd memorized my Latin. Once a couple came to adopt me, and they asked me to say a beloved Bible verse. You know what I did? I said, 'Religion is the opiate of the masses.' Can you imagine? I've never confessed this before." Luka glared at him. The boy seemed wholly unaware of the gilded crucifix nailed to Luka's doorway. "Those people must have been horrified," he said. "Oh yes," the boy said. "Not long after that, I was turned out onto the streets. And then I answered your advertisement, because I'm starving and should find a bride soon." "Ah, yes, my advertisement," Luka echoed, hoping to bring the conversation back to a topic that was less blasphemous. "For the common man, this is a project I plan to submit to a gallery." "Where is the gallery?" the boy asked. Luka hesitated. He feared that if the boy found out where his portrait would be hung, he would rip it to shreds and spew Bolshevik. But a glance at the cross reminded him that he should not lie. "Peterhof," he said, coughing into his sleeve. Perhaps the boy was unaware of the Tsar's summer residence. He was uneducated, after all. He needn't have worried. Not a glimmer of recognition appeared in the boy's eyes. "Perhaps I'll visit Peterhof when I have money for train fare," he said. "May I see the drawing?" Luka turned back to the canvas, proud of what he'd made. "What did you say your name was?" he asked. The model smiled. "I didn't. It's Tolia." Luka inscribed Tolia's name at the top of the canvas. "It's strange," he said. How a portrait reveals truth and dispels lies. Then it is not a sketch of a face, Tolia said, smiling. It is a real face. It is Tolia. Thank you.